Assalamu alaikum students. I hope all of you are fine and safe. In a previous session, we talked about what is utility and what are the arguments of utility function. So we talked that depending upon the situation and nature of analysis, utility function may have different arguments. Arguments of utility function are actually all those variables on which utility is depending are all those variables that are held constant due to ceteris paribus assumption. I repeat, arguments of utility function are basically all those variables on which utility depends, or we can say all those variables that are held constant. See, for example, equation 3.1. In this, we are saying that utility is a function of n goods from x1 to last good, provided that other things remaining the same. You know, it is common practice that in economic models we keep certain variables to be constant. That's why we include the term, the sentence ceteris paribus assumption, other things remaining the same, other things being equal. So all these variables on the right hand side, either those are treated as constant or those are not constant. Either variables on right hand side is known as argument of utility function. So anyways, this was focus last time. Now we extend our this discussion and today we will be talking about the trait and substitution and the indifference curve, marginal rate of substitution, etc. Most economic activity involves voluntary trading between individuals. When someone buys, say a loaf of bread, he or she is voluntarily giving up one thing, money, for something else, bread, that is of greater value to that individual. Why this person is giving up money and why this person is buying bread? Because in this situation, now bread is more valuable for him or her against the amount of money he is going to spend to buy bread. So, anyways, this exchange is known as trade, and this trade is volunteer, and this is basically a substitution. Two, to examine this kind of voluntary transaction, we need to develop a formal apparatus for illustrating trades in the utility function context. For first, we first motivate our discussion with a graphical presentation and then turn to some more formal mathematics. So, to illustrate this situation, we will use indifference curve. Indifference curve and the marginal rate of substitution. Voluntary trades can best be studied using the graphical device of an indifference curve. In figure 3.2, the curve U1 represents all the alternative combinations of two goods x and y for which an individual is equally well off. Remember again that all other arguments of the utility function are held constant. अब ये जो u1 फंक्शन है यूटिलिटी फंक्शन ये सिर्फ x और y की क्वांटिटीज पे डिपेंड कर रहा है other things remaining same. So this is a indifference curve that shows negative relationship between consumption of two goods x and y. Here we are measuring quantity of x, here we are talking about quantity of y. Any point on u1 indifference curve shows combination of two goods x and y. So for example, this point shows y1 x1 combination and this combination provides some certain level of satisfaction or utility to this person who is consuming x and y. Now this person can use unlimited combinations represented by unlimited points on this indifference curve, and any combination of x and y that this curve represent shows that level of satisfaction is constant. So if, for example, this person may also use this combination y2 and x2 where now he is consuming more of x and less of y. But this consumption, this combination also provides same satisfaction level as was represented by this point. So any point on this curve shows the substitution between different units of two goods. And you know, the level of satisfaction on one same indifference curve remains constant. However, if we talk about any indifference curve higher than u1, level of satisfaction will be higher, and any indifference curve lower than u1 will have less level of satisfaction. So these are the basic properties of indifference curve, and you definitely have studied uh, these characteristics of indifference curve in your earlier courses. So anyways, indifference curve shows different combinations of two goods that provide equal level of satisfaction, same level of satisfaction to the consumer. How we can define indifference curve? An indifference curve shows a set of consumption bundles about which the individual is indifferent. So why we use the term indifferent? Why is the indifference curve called indifference curve? This is due to the word indifferent. So this person is indifferent between consumption of two goods, either this combination or this combination. Both combination of x and y provide him equal level of satisfaction, so it makes no difference for him if he is using this combination or any combination represented by any point on this curve. So this is the reason why indifference curve is called and indifference curve. That is, the bundles all provide the same level of utility. The slope of the indifference curve is negative, and this negative slope shows that if the individual is forced to give up some y, he or she must be compensated by an additional amount of x to remain indifferent between the two bundles of goods. So, why the slope is negative, or why, or what does the negative slope show? The negative slope of the indifference curve shows that in order to consume more units of one good, the individual must leave certain units of the other good. And we always talk about consumption of two goods at a time, as represented by, as shown by this curve, and you may note the x's. This is showing quantity of x and this is showing quantity of y. Anyways, if this person wants to consume more of other good, he must leave some units of first good. Why this is the case? Because the income of the individual is fixed. So in order to purchase more of one good, he or she needs more income, and that more income can be managed by leaving certain units of other good. This is graphical representation of the assumption that people become progressively less willing to trade away y to get more x. And you know that the marginal rate of substitution decreases as we move from left to right. This is, for example, if this is the left side of the indifference curve, as far as we move to the right, slope decreases. Slope of indifference curve, shows the minor rate of substitution, and this is decreasing or diminishing. That shows the rate at which a consumer, an individual, can exchange one good with certain units of another good. So now we will define minor rate of substitution. The negative of the slope of an indifference curve u1 at some point is termed the minor rate of substitution MRS at that point. That is, MRS is equal to negative of dy over dx, change in one commodity y and change in other commodity x, provided that utility is equal to u1. What does this mean? Where the notation indicates that the slope is to be calculated along the u1 indifference curve. U1 जो इंडिफरेंस कर्व है इसका हम स्लोप जो है वो नोट कर रहे हैं और ये नेगेटिव साइन ये शो कर रही है कि ये स्लोप जो है इस इंडिफरेंस कर्व का वो नेगेटिव है। Up till now we are talking about single indifference curve. आपको पता है कि हम जहाँ सिंगल इंडिफरेंस कर्व की बात करते हैं वहां पे हम इंडिफरेंस कर्व मैप की भी बात करते हैं। The curve U1 represents those combinations of x and y from which the individual derives the same utility. The slope of this curve represents the rate at which the individual is willing to trade x for y while remaining equally well off. अब यहाँ पे शायद आपके लिए ये ट्रेड का वर्ड जो है वो नया हो या आप कह लें कि पहले यूज ना हुआ हो, जरूरी नहीं है, मे बी ये सिचुएशन ना हो। तो एनीवेज ट्रेड की जो टर्म है वो हम बेसिकली सब्स्टिट्यूट की सेंस में जो है वो हम इसको यूज कर रहे हैं। तो जब वो कंज्यूमर एक गुड की ज्यादा क्वांटिटी यूज करना चाहे तो उसके लिए उसको दूसरी कमोडिटी के सर्टन यूनिट्स जो हैं वो उसको लीव करने पड़ेंगे, गिव अप करने पड़ेंगे, फोरगो करने पड़ेंगे। तो इस रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज को या इस सब्स्टिट्यूशन को हम जो है वो ट्रेड कह रहे हैं। दिस स्लोप or more properly the negative of the slope is termed the minor rate of substitution. Minor rate of substitution is the rate at which an individual can substitute certain units of one good with certain units of another good. So for example, अगर जो है ये कंज्यूमर, ये इंडिविजुअल अब एक्स कमोडिटी की कंजम्पशन बढ़ाना चाह रहा है फ्रॉम x1 टू x2, इतना एक्स्ट्रा जो है वो कंज्यूम करना चाह रहा है, तो वो क्या करेगा, इसकी इतनी कमोडिटी इतनी क्वांटिटी को लीव करके वो इसको एक्स्ट्रा यूज कर सकता है। तो दिस इज बेसिकली ट्रेड, दिस इज बेसिकली सब्स्टिट्यूशन। तो अब एक कमोडिटी के सर्टेन यूनिट्स दूसरी कमोडिटी के कितने यूनिट्स के साथ सब्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं, हम उनको एक्सचेंज करते हैं। तो दिस इज बेसिकली माइनर रेट ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन। तो दिस इज चेंज इन y। आप चेंज कैसे फाइंड करेंगे, y की न्यू वैल्यू माइनस y की ओल्ड वैल्यू। तो दिस इज चेंज इन y और दिस इज चेंज इन x, x की न्यू वैल्यू माइनस x की इनिशियल वैल्यू। तो इसकी बेस पे जो है वो हम माइनर रेट ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन जो है वो कैलकुलेट करते हैं। In this figure, the indifference curve is drawn on the assumption of a diminishing minor rate of substitution. तो आपको पता है कि जो इंडिफरेंस कर्व है इसका नेगेटिव स्लोप क्यों है, दिस इज ड्यू टू द assumption or law of diminishing minor rate of substitution. What does slope of indifference curve u1 and the minor rate of substitution tell us? These tell us something about the trades this person will voluntarily make कि अगर ये वही बात कि एक पर्सन अगर एक कमोडिटी के सर्टेन यूनिट ज्यादा कंज्यूम करना चाह रहा है तो उसके लिए उसे दूसरी कमोडिटी के सर्टेन यूनिट्स जो हैं वो लीव करने पड़ेंगे। तो अभी तक हमने सिंगल इंडिफरेंस कर्व की बात की है। नाउ वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडिफरेंस कर्व मैप। In figure 3.2, only one indifference curve was drawn. The XY quadrant, however, is densely packed with such curves, each corresponding to a different level of utility. तो प्रैक्टिकली जो है ये जो इंटरफेरेंस कर्व हैं इनके हम बहुत सारे इंटरफेरेंस कर्व की बात भी करते हैं। उसकी वजह ये है कि डिफरेंट लेवल ऑफ यूटिलिटी को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए डिफरेंट इंटरफेरेंस कर्व चाहिए, because every bundle of goods can be ranked and yield some level of utility. Each point in figure 3.2 must have an indifference curve passing through it. Indifference curves are similar to contour lines on a map in that they represent lines of equal altitude of utility. In figure 3.3, several indifference curves are shown to indicate that there are infinitely many in the plane. So this is a indifference curve map. यहाँ पे हमने simplicity के लिए सिर्फ 3 indifference curve को include किया है इस indifference curve map में। तो ये जो indifference curve हैं U1, U2, U3 ये different level of satisfaction को show करते हैं। अब इस U1 और U2 जो इंडिफरेंस कर्व हैं इनके दरमियान डिफरेंस कितना है? दिस डिफरेंस कैन नॉट बी क्वांटिफाइड एग्जैक्टली। वजह क्या है कि ये बेसिकली रैंकिंग है कि कंज्यूमर ये कह सकता है कि देखें जो कॉम्बिनेशन गुड एक्स और वाई का U2 पे लाई कर रहा है वो प्रेफर्ड है किस ऐसे कॉम्बिनेशन पे से जो U1 पे लाई करता है। तो इस यही वजह है कि one of the properties of indifference curve is that higher indifference curve shows higher level of satisfaction because higher indifference curve shows higher quantities, greater quantities of goods and hence more level of satisfaction than a lower indifference curve. U3 has more satisfaction than U2 and U2 has more satisfaction than U1. How much more satisfaction U3 has as compared to U2 or U1? This cannot be compared exactly because these indifference curves are showing just the ranking. We cannot identify the difference exactly. So our conclusion is that sometimes consumer satisfaction is shown by single indifference curve and sometimes we talk about indifference curve map. Why? Because there are different bundles of goods and services that can be used by a consumer and every bundle of goods provides different level of satisfaction. So in order to show a rank that utility gained or obtained from different bundles of goods and services can be represented by different indifference curve. And if this is the situation, we are using we use indifference curve map. For the time being, we stop here, and we will continue this discussion in coming sessions. Thank you.